Hello, everyone. This is Jasha here to record my responses for this week's discussion board on community mapping. So for the particular community I focused on, which is known as Chamberlain Avenue, I'm pretty familiar with this area already. So a lot of the resources that I included on my community map, I was already knowledgeable of. However, there were a lot of resources that I found that I did not know existed. So I was able to locate those just through doing a basic internet search and finding the different websites that they had that had their mission statements and vision statements and basically a description of what the services that they provide the community with. So I said that when deciding which resources to focus on, I thought about my specific student and what would be important for him to have access to as he matriculates through high school and into his post-secondary transition. Some of the resources that I found in the community consisted of a lot of recreation facilities such as Pine Camp, Three Lakes Park, Capitol Park, and the North Park YMCA. In addition to those, there were a lot of accessible routes for public transportation and a lot of options for public housing. However, for the housing, although there were a lot of options, a lot of them were not adequate. So I just thought that was really interesting. Like a lot of them had like 1-star reviews and just not really, although they are affordable, just not in the best shape that they could be in. In addition to that, something that I noticed was that there were not a lot of social service agencies or facilities, such as like medical clinics or even like mental health clinics. So again, I wasn't surprised, but I think that's something that definitely needs to be focused on more. So with that being said, in one of the articles that I read, it focused on scarcity and inequity and resources for mental health. So a piece that I took out from it mentioned that human resources available for mental health care in most low-income and middle-income countries are very limited. Not only are resources for mental health scarce, they are also inequitably distributed between countries, regions, and within communities. Populations with high rates of socioeconomic deprivation have the highest need for mental care, but the lowest access to it. So that article really talked a lot and was very relevant pertaining to the community that I focused on. A lot of the individuals in my community don't have access to those type of resources, and they should. So considering that, I said that more attention is needed toward creating facilities and providing resources that focus on physical, mental, and emotional health in this community. With that being said, there were a few resources that I implemented that were further away in distance, so like located like 25, 30 miles away, more like I said, towns like Chesterfield and Chester, that have those resources and have those services that they can provide students. So although they were located further away, I just wanted to make sure that I still included those in my community map, just to let the student and his family know that those services exist, and if they have the means to get to that side of town, then they're definitely available for them to use regardless. So looking at my second article, a statement that stood out to me read that those living in disadvantaged circumstances who are most in need of the benefits of education may be least able to gain access to them. So I looked at that statement more in terms of resources. So those who are in most need of the benefits of resources may be least able to gain access to them. So considering that and keeping that in mind, I said that in order to ensure that the resources I recommended for my student were relevant, that is why I chose to focus on this area. I wanted to focus on an area that was close to where he attends school and where he lives. So majority of the resources that I found for his community mapping were located less than a mile from the high school that he'll be attending in the fall and less than 4 miles from his current neighborhood. So again, just wanted to make sure that everything is accessible for him and his family. And so altogether, I said that although I won't be in direct contact with the student or his family as he transitions to high school, I've managed to maintain a really close relationship with his middle school counselor, who I have been updating and providing her with all of the resources that I've been finding throughout the different parts of creating this IEP for the student. I'm making sure to give her all of the information that I have so she can pass it along to the student and his family, so that he'll be able to use this as he goes throughout high school and once he graduates and enters his post-secondary transition process. So yeah, that is it. That is my response, and thank you.